Hello, Internet. So, something that people have been wanting to see is the inside of a singularity black hole. So, that's what I am going to show you here. And it's really cool. I've described it as a dancing fractal. I think Joe Rogan would be so happy if he, if he found that out. I don't know if you're a fan of the Joe Rogan podcast like I am, but one of the things he always says is, I wonder if it's just like a fractal. It's a fractal, and guess what? It is. It's a fractal. Look at this. This is the inside of a black hole. If you zoom it out, you can see there's the event horizon of it. This is the inside of it. And it has a fractal-like pattern, and depending on the energy level of the black hole, it creates different patterns. And I really like this one because this energy level is negative 777. It has to be negative to create a singularity. So when you have negative 777, 7 is, of course, one of the God's numbers. And optimum theory is not a religious thing, but I do enjoy the intersection between science and our great heritages, religious heritages, and traditions and belief systems. Um, I myself am raised, well, I don't know if raised is the right word. I'm from a Judeo-Christian heritage, right? So, by the way, that means that if so, what does that mean? It means that, the internet can be a very kind of like anti-Semitic place sometimes, and that's not my thing. I do have Jewish members of my family. Um, I am I'm an optimist, right? That's what if you agree with optimum theory, I call you an optimist. And so so this is then the vector field. And before we were looking at the change function. So before it was a heat map of change. This is a vector field. You can see the arrows, they point in the direction of change. So it's determined by change. Direction, like energy, like direction is just it's just a measurement of change. And now what happens here is now it kind of looks like a skull or something. It's almost like a Rorschach test. I really like that about it. But did I go on a tangent? Anyway, the point is that I think I did. The point is that 777 is like one above 666. So it's commonly called, 7 is commonly called one of God's numbers, along with 3 for the Trinity. And when you plug 777 into this, it creates like this almost like religious iconography. And you're going to see it creates crosses. Like some people say crosses. I mean, they are objectively crosses. Like you will see crosses. It's interesting. And you might think, well, it does that at every energy level. No, it doesn't. If you plug in 1000, negative 1000, it does not create crosses. It creates crosses at negative 777, which I think is really cool. You're probably going to see more. So now what happened is I'm letting the singularity kind of go naturally. Like I pumped all this negative energy. Now we're going to start seeing it. So I pumped all this negative energy into the simulation, and now I'm just kind of letting the simulation do its own thing. And you see what's going on here? Look at that. How cool is that? Now down here we can go look back at our vector field, and this is also just it's going ham. It's going ham, y'all. What does that mean? When like Jay-Z and Kanye are like, it's ham, what does that even mean? Hard as something? I don't know. Anyway, look, upside down one. The upside. I don't think the upside down cross is always like a bad thing. But you're gonna see there's one that's right side. There's one. Look at that one. So I really enjoy this intersection between science and faith. It's something that's like it's like it's almost like virgin territory, in the United States. It's much more common in Asia and Europe that there's the intersection isn't so like angry. Like people get angry and they shouldn't. And the only way people are gonna like normalize this is to actually discuss it. For example, one of the things I discuss in optimum theory is evolution. And so I agree with evolution. Evolution is a part of optimum theory. It's a fact in my book. And but here's the thing, okay? So what is the evolution story? The story of evolution, we came from the dirt. We grew from the dirt. The tree of life. Life is a tree. Species fruiting on the ends of each branch. Our species, the most brilliant of all, the fruit of knowledge. Okay, now what is the story of Genesis in the Bible? That my ancestors wrote that. So like people get offended, people want to get, you can't talk about, my ancestors wrote that book. That is, my ancestors wrote that. So, which, and if they didn't, it wouldn't make any difference. Like, it's a part of the human story. So Genesis, what is the story of Genesis? Well, what happened? Well, God made us from dirt, clay. Our earliest ancestors would have been familiar with clay, the molding of figurines, right? Molding of figurines, that was one of the first currencies, actually. And so we were made from the dirt. We grew from the dirt. There was the tree of life. Now I swear I saw a skull, right? It's the Rorschach. It's the Rorschach test. You're locked in here with me now. And so we were created from the dirt, molded from the dirt. There was the tree of life in the garden of good and evil. In the garden, right? So what? Not good and evil. In the garden, it wasn't evil in the garden. What am I talking about? Where did I get that from? Anyway, the garden was paradise. And what was in the garden? It was all the animals, right? So surrounding the tree of life, there were all the animals in there, along with us. And then what did we eat to become so brilliant? The fruit of knowledge. That is the fruit that gave us the knowledge of our own nakedness, our own death. As a metaphor, you can't get better than that. That is the best metaphor you could possibly write for evolution. Now imagine that someone tried to convince our ancestors that's a few thousand years ago that no, we're actually from DNA, and DNA organisms that compete and they evolve and all that. No one would believe. No one would understand what you're talking about. DNA. What is DNA? What is a cell? We hadn't even developed cell theory yet. For goodness sakes, you want to try and explain DNA to people? No. What do? You explain to them. Oh, yeah, it was the tree of life. There was all these animals around, and we became humanity because of knowledge. The fruit of knowledge. We fruited on the end of a branch. We ate the fruit of knowledge. The only species capable of transmitting knowledge across generations. Anyway, this is a black hole singularity. What's going on down here again? All right, see? That's what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm going to leave it on that. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.